Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And we're trying. I don't think we've spoken about a video game before, but we're speaking about a video game now.
We did what we did like an
Um,
E3 video like years ago.
yes, we did. But
But I
this
don't
is a
think we've done like a
proper,
dedicated one. No,
yeah, this is a proper one. Because for the first time in what seems like ages, Liam and I have both played the same game at the same time.
that's
Uh,
true. When it
because
came
most of the
out,
time, yeah, most of the time you're playing one and then I'm playing one, or one of us has gotten to another one later. I think I played God of War and then you borrowed my copy. You played
Mhm.
Gotham Knights, then I played it like 6 months later. Um, so for the first time, we were both on board with this game
We're
straight from the
trendy
bat.
now.
We
The
really
bat.
are. Ahaha,
Ah,
ahaha, for two bats. Um,
yes, that was
uh,
superb, man.
oh, ahaha, ahaha, that was dead shot. I did it. Yeah.
Okay, leave it
Yes, we
there.
are talking about Suicide Squad. Kill the Justice League. It's just called Kill the Justice League. It came out. Well, depending on what edition you bought, how much money you have, it either came out on Tuesday last week or Friday last week.
Yes.
Liam and I played it Friday last week. Because
Haha.
I was simply not going to spend between 80 and £100 on a video game. I thought that
No,
was a bit much.
I I
Um,
I make a point to never buy a deluxe edition of anything, no matter how much I'm looking
yes,
forward to it. I would never do it.
yeah. I think the only way I would do it is if I got something physical for it, something nice
Yeah.
physically. However, all of the digital stuff was just skins, and that plays into what we'll talk about,
Yeah. If
obviously.
I'd had the money at the time, I probably would have gone for the Spider-Man 2 one because that statue with Venom was really cool.
Yes,
But I
yes.
still maybe wouldn't have. But it
Although
doesn't
I
matter.
don't think you got the disc for that, did you? I think you got a code. Was it that one
I
where you
don't
got the
even know.
code?
Probably. You can't
So
get
that's the
everything
other thing
anymore.
is yeah, exactly. But yes, we're talking about Suicide Squad. I think we both finished. You finished the game on. I think we both finished the game on Saturday, didn't we? No, I finished Sunday morning. You finished Saturday afternoon. Uh,
I have no concept of time in regards to this game because I
so
complete the story in 2 sessions and it's very
yeah,
long
basically the same.
sessions.
So I think you played basically. You had it digitally, didn't you? So you got it like
Yeah. I had
at midnight.
I pre-downloaded it and I just spent an hour and a half just watching it go down until midnight, just watching the countdown.
Yeah,
And then I played it
yeah.
for 7 hours.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I spent the whole of Friday looking at my Amazon app, refreshing it, praying to God that it was going to be delivered today. It did. It arrived at about 8 p.m., 7:30 ish. Then it had to install, which was another pain. So I finally managed to play about 2 hours on Friday night, and then I played God about maybe 7 hours on Saturday, and then I finished the rest off on Sunday morning.
I did
Um,
enjoy waking up to your messages like,
yeah,
you're dead. This boss is
yeah,
dead. Now this boss is
yeah.
dead.
Yeah. So I think we'll to make this a lot easier on us for not having to tiptoe around things, we'll probably talk loads of spoilers for this
Yeah.
one, just so that we don't have to worry about or can we set, we'll just go all in. But I think we'll just kick
You can
off.
guess what happens based on
Um
the title, really.
yeah, funnily enough, the title kind of gives away the game. Who could have
It's
guessed?
aptly named, I think.
It really is. So you play as a member of the Suicide Squad. The four they've picked is King Shark, Deadshot, Harley Quinn, and Captain Boomerang. Who I did not know his real name was Digger.
Yeah, Digger
Certainly,
Harkness.
so
Digger,
that was
the
new for
barely
me.
knower.
Exactly. Um, and you're sort of dragged into Metropolis, home of Superman, Lois Lane, etc., the Justice League. Funnily enough, and you are tasked with stopping an invasion of this big alien head.
Yes.
Um, and to do so, you need to kill members of the Justice League. Funnily enough, and you pretty much do kill all members of the Justice League.
Yeah,
They all
they all
die,
die, but you don't
but
kill
you
them all.
you don't
There's a
necessarily kill.
twist.
There
If
is a
it was called Suicide Squad Kill All the Justice League, that would be a bad name because that's not
yes,
true.
exactly. But yes, it's a. I think the elephant in the room is it's a live service game.
Yeah.
Um, it's similar vein to things like Destiny, naming the good one, not the bad one, like Anthem or
Yeah.
Marvel's Avengers.
Yeah, it's
So
like a
live
looter shooter,
service,
isn't it?
yeah, looter shooter is the best thing. It's at the minute constantly online, but I think they're making it so you should be able to play offline.
Yeah, they are working on that.
I think it's, for me, it's more akin to Fallout 76 than it is to sort of anything else I've played. And I really enjoyed Fallout 76. I was on it, only a few days ago before this game came out. And that's where I think a lot of the hubbub around this game has started and stemmed from.
Yes.
Is the live service aspect, and it's also done by Rocksteady Studios, who are the developer behind the Batman Arkham series, which is widely acclaimed.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people put Asylum at the pinnacle of that and claim it just went downhill, and a lot of people would say that this trend has continued. With the 3 games that they produced before this one. But this one is a continuation of that series, whether people are happy about it or not. And I will say I had a lot of fun with it, and I am still having a lot of fun with it.
Correct. I am too. And I'm in the grindy stages of trying to get the platform for it. And I'm still having a lot of fun doing it, which is good.
Yeah, and I mean, not everyone will like everything that comes out for them. I know some people want this to be something else. It's fair enough. I would have loved for a new single player game from them, but this is the option. You can either play it and put it aside, never play it again, or you can play it and you find you enjoy it, and you keep playing it. The longevity of it, I guess, will depend on the player base. But they do have plans to keep the content coming. It is also, I don't think any of the new sort of story content is behind paywalls. I don't think. I think
it's all free, yeah.
Or free after you bought the game.
Like every game.
Yeah. But there's no subscription fee where you have to, pay per month.
Yeah, there's no additional fees unless you want
you can
costumes and stuff.
Yes, you can pay extra for battle passes, which gives you new skins and whatnot, but that's only if you're dedicated, and that's what other games do as well. You look at Fortnite, you look at Fall Guys, Rocket League as well. They all have different skins where you can buy different things, and nobody sort of, I mean, people complain about it, but that's how the game is. That's the point of the game. This game has a solid single player story, which I thought was pretty good. I mean, it must have been good for us both to basically binge through it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I think I knew that it would be a solid story because of the stories they've told before. Some of the actors that are in
Rocksteady
there.
are clearly big fans of the DC universe, and I think that does come through. And
100%.
There is a lot of labour of love for the games they did previously as well, which I do very much enjoy. Because the Arkham series is one of my favourite gaming series. So, I knew it would be in safe hands in regards to the story with them, because they've always been very good with the DC characters. And I was excited to dive into this one because, it was all Batman characters in the last 3 games that they did. But delving into the Justice League and some wider characters and the Suicide Squad, I was excited to see their take on them, and I think they did a really good job.
Yeah, they always tease there was others outside of the universe for the Arkham games.
Like the post-credit scene of Arkham Origins has Amanda Waller in it, recruiting Deadshot or something, I think. So I think they probably had some sort of intentions of a wider universe at some point.
Yeah, 100%. I think arguments could be made as to whether or not they would have always made it a live service game. I think that may have been
definitely not
placed on them by.
I think a lot
Warner
of the criticisms. Well,
a
lot of people are just assuming before the games come out, which I don't know why people do. But I think a lot of people are judging the game they showed off 2 years ago, which I think was fairly kind of been ooh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, we're going to delay the game, we're going to step away and fix these issues, and people still oh, it's been delayed, it's going to be terrible then, isn't it? What do you want? They're fixing it. Delaying a game is never a bad thing, because at least all it can be is get better. So it's bizarre. But
unless it's Gollum, unless it's Lord of the Ring Gollum. Lord of Ring Gollum. Yeah.
That's the massive outlier, isn't it? God. But a few years ago when they first started showing footage, but I think it was our first look at it. I liked what I saw, but I think they were definitely leaning more into the live service elements of pay to win. You probably would have had to pay for the further story that we're going to be getting for no additional cost now. And there's a huge backlash, and they did listen to that. So I understood those kind of criticisms then. I really don't get them now. I'm playing this game. I do try and understand points of view. I genuinely can't understand how people could play this and see this and be, oh yeah, that's bad.
Yeah,
It might not be
I
for
think
you,
they're,
but to
yeah,
say this is
I
a
think
bad game is beyond me.
I disagree. It's clearly not a bad game. I think, I think people can look at it and be like, okay, it's just
Yeah,
average, for what you
looter
want.
shooters might not be for you. You're like, okay, that doesn't interest me.
Yeah,
But if you're
the
like, yeah,
Division,
that's bad.
yeah, like the Division and Call of Duty, Warzone and things like that. I'm not gonna be like, oh, they're bad. Even Fortnite, I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, it's a bad game, because it's
No,
it's
I'm
comprehensively
bad
not a
at
bad
it,
game.
but it's not a bad
Yeah,
game.
I'm terrible at it and I don't enjoy it, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad game. And I think people haven't managed to separate I don't like it to it's bad. They always seem
Yeah,
to be mixed, and that's not just in the video games. That's in TV, film, books.
yeah,
Any
that's just everything,
politics,
isn't it?
anything in the world. It's just if I don't like it, it is bad.
And I must
Um,
tell the world that it's bad and I don't like it, even
yes,
though it doesn't actually concern me.
yeah, and I mean, it's especially annoying when people maybe haven't played the game, because if people are already going in with the mindset of it's bad, they're not going to spend £55
Yeah,
to be proven right.
if you go into
Um,
something not wanting to like it, you're not gonna like it. That's just how it is.
yeah, and people get an echo chamber around them where they'll only be watching and listening and seeing people that agree with them, so that it kind of goes round and round in circles.
Yeah,
And I think I was quite concerned sort of moving towards this game. Even I think as early as the start of this year, I was like, am I going to get it? um and the more that came out about the story and more about actually the gameplay wise, I was like, okay, I'm gonna commit to another live service game. I'm jumping on at the start. I'm currently 1 for 2, I think, in the live service games I've started. One's still going, the other one is dead.
good.
So this is 50-50,
Yeah, who
um
knows?
but they showed more of the story off, and I think the strong point for this is the story. And I think if they keep
Yeah,
that going in the content that will come out in the future, I think this can obviously be a very good. I think that's what Destiny does as well, quite not quite well. If you're in that, people really enjoy the
yeah.
story there, and it really grips
Rocksteady's
them.
always been very good with continuing to release like story content. Arkham Knight had like 3 story DLCs that were all amazing and like rounded off characters that weren't in like the main game. So they did like a
Yeah.
flashback one with Batgirl, and then they added ones that like gave an ending to Mr. Freeze in the Arkhamverse and Killer Croc and Ra's al Ghul. So I'm
For
hoping
now.
that same
Yeah.
I'm hoping that same level of quality storytelling that they had in the main story will continue on. I am intrigued. When they first kind of showed off, like, oh, it's going to be Joker from a multiverse, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, interesting.
Yeah.
I know Mark Hamill doesn't voice the Joker anymore, but okay. And I was a bit
Got to make
concerned
a
about
difference
that.
somewhere.
Then you
Yeah.
play the story, I'm like, oh, they actually do go to Earth too, and like, I just thought it was
Yeah.
gonna be like a random thing that just happens after the story.
Yeah.
Like, we have to deal with this,
Yeah.
but it is like there's
They set it up.
conveniently there's 12 months of future for this game
Mm.
potentially. There's 12 more Brainiacs to kill. Funny that.
Yes.
So I think
Yes.
that's going to be going forward. Like, oh, I see where they're going with this now.
Yeah, I think it's a very smart thing to do. It's DC is definitely, and what Marvel probably should have done is it's such an easy way to be like, there's a multiverse, we're going to build a game around all these multiversal characters coming in, and I think a video game is probably the best way that kind of story can be done. We see it currently trying to happen in film, both for Marvel and DC, and they've kind of both sort of gone, oh, whoops, we've kind of botched that a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is probably the easiest way they could do it, because you can play through and you can easily see, and you just kind of have to wait for the next thing. And so I guess that's all to come, because at the end of the story, big spoilers for the end of the story, obviously, you finish off the Justice League and then you have to go and kill Brainiac, who is about halfway through. You discover, oh shit, there's a parallel Earth. Whoopsie daisy.
Yeah, right after
And
you
now
kill
you have to
Flash,
go and
you then get sucked in Lex Luthor
yes.
or Lex Toofer, as they call him. It's like sucks you into his world.
Excellent. And it's I think you can definitely see at that point, like, okay, I see where they're going with
Yeah,
this.
that's when it clicked to me. It's like, okay, now the plot's starting.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes. And then at the minute you can go backwards and forwards between this and the first parallel universe, and as you mentioned, they say there's other Brainiacs from those universes to kill, who is the big bad. So assuming at the end of 12 months, whether or not they decide, I think that'll probably be the cutoff. If they go, no one's playing it anymore, we'll release this.
Yeah,
and cut our losses and try, which is fair. If you've got a game, if as long as everything is still playable after that 12 months, I think that's fine. If you want to make 12 months worth of content, and then say, there we go, this is done, the story's all there, you can go and you can play, you can explore.
Yeah, they only just turned off the servers for Arkham Origins last year, so that was 10 years that they kept those servers up. So
yeah.
hopefully there'll be that same longevity for this, because there's more reason to keep going back. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, there should be, and I think they've already announced, or at least they've already said they've got 4 months worth planned in at the minute. And they've sort of teased what that is, as well as some reveals. But yeah, I think the story wise, it's great. It makes complete sense. All the characters, there's quite a lot of humor in there, and I find them all hilarious and a good chemistry between the 4 of them. Even Waller and Rick Flag, they have good moments as well. But I think the main sort of quad is very good. There was very few times where I got repeated dialogue. I think I'm getting it now because it's at the end, and you're writing and stuff. But but throughout it was very throughout the game it was very I imagine. Well, you probably not have. There's loads of different settings you can do to change the HUD and all that kind of stuff. So I imagine there's different things you can do. But I think the writing was good. I know a lot of people have been critiquing that, but I think if you take the writing out of context, you're probably not going to, there's going to be...
It's like when that scene in Last of Us Part 2 leaked early, and everyone was like, well, this game's going to be terrible. This game's badly written, isn't it? Because it was something they didn't want to see happen. So therefore it must be badly written. I think it was that happening all over again, because I think it was, Batman's death that leaked a bit early. And I was like, no, I don't want to see it. I mean, I assumed Batman was going to die because of the title. I didn't watch it.
And even so,
I get the controversy because of it's the Arkham Batman, but also
he had 3 games and he died. He guys, he died at the end of the 3rd game. If you didn't get the big thing, he died anyway.
Yeah, you can just say he died.
So it's fine.
Paid up a Batman. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But I mean, even that it fits in the narrative and it fits with how it's going. And it makes complete sense in the game and within the context of that world why this has had to happen.
Yeah, I think it's quite brave and bold of them to, for the first time introduce the Justice League in the Arkhamverse and immediately kill them. And we don't even get to know them, apart from Wonder Woman and Flash very briefly. We don't get to see them as themselves.
There's differently, obviously, as they have done with all the Arkham games as well. There's little bits of audio that you can pick up and things you can read and all that kind of thing, where it kind of gives you an insight into who they were beforehand.
You can get some collectibles that kind of fill in what their relationships are like. The first few days of Brainiac arriving and what the Justice League deciding what to do, you can collect all of those and stuff like that. And
there's a whole
behind the scenes with Hack and stuff as well. Her and Poison Ivy have a really sweet friendship behind the scenes, which is very wholesome to kind of listen to. So there's lots of stuff like that as well.
Yeah, and it makes the world definitely feel lived in. And I mean, throughout the game as well, you get stalked by Batman, which is another nice little little tease where you can sort of see him in the distance. And you're like, oh,
everything with Batman in this game, I genuinely love. Like Rocksteady just get Batman, but they made him so terrifying. It was so weird being the goon that you hunt in the previous 3 Arkham games. And I'm just like, oh my god, no wonder they're so bloody scared. It was awful.
Yeah.
As soon as I mean, so early in the game for that to start happening as well. I was like, oh no, it's 2 a.m. This is scary. I can't do this.
It's because there's about there's 2 major Batman sequences. One like sort of within first 2 hours of the game, I think, where you kind of first find him and he effectively takes you out, all of you out. He lures you into his trap, fucks you up, and then he just leaves. He's like, I can't be bothered.
I'm here for Flash, not you.
Because this is the Justice League has turned evil, so he is. There are people strung up and dead. He is killing people, and of course, if you hadn't spoken to people before about this game, and you said, "Oh, what's the coolest thing they could do with Batman?" It's like, "Oh, I think he could go on a rampage and just start killing people." This shows you what would happen if Batman literally was evil and used his powers for evil.
It never not slaps when that happens. They did it in Titans as well. They did like a multiverse kind of thing. Well, not really multiverse. Like it was like a dream sequence where he kills Joker for killing Robin. Oh, it's so good.
And people loved it when Superman was evil in Batman vs Superman, Justice League, one of those ones, the films. Where he came down and was killing people. Next,
and like Superman 3 or something, like the Christopher Reeve ones, he's evil in that for a bit, and people call that the best one. So it's just a good thing to do.
It's great. And yeah, I think it works really well. There's a whole really cool like Scarecrow Batman boss battle, which I think was probably
I love
my
that
best.
he kind of became Scarecrow.
Yeah, they're horrific. They're horrific.
Yeah,
that was horrific because
it's just good
it was
storytelling,
just
like
terrifying.
how he's kind of becoming like what he used to be haunted by and everything. Now he's lost that control. It's just so good.
Yeah,
The visual
I think
storytelling is great. Like even when you press the button to start the Batman Museum and it does the duh 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 from Arkham Asylum, it's like, oh, I got chills. It's so good.
Yeah, because you could just leave at that point, but you went through the whole thing in the dark, and then you go back and like, oh, actually, I'm gonna look around.
Yeah, because I screwed myself over in that because he stalks you through it first, and then you can go through the museum properly. In my fear, I shot the standee of Arkham Knight, so I don't know what it looks like. I haven't seen it because when you go back, it's just destroyed. So I still haven't seen the art. So I think they commissioned like proper artists to do like all those pictures that you can walk through. So I still haven't seen the Arkham Knight one, which makes me sad. But
I'll never see it now. It's stuck.
No, I don't want to see it now.
But so the storytelling is great. I think the other thing that I was kind of worried about as well was the sort of the combat and the traversal. Like, how would it feel? There's a lot of
I was concerned about the traversal
colors coming off and all that kind of thing. It looked very cluttered. But even so, you can turn a lot of that off, a lot of the HUD off. Not that I have, because I don't think it's as bad when you're playing it.
It's not when you're playing it.
It looked.
It doesn't bother you.
No, definitely not. It's not as sort of. It's not as lootery as it looked in some of the trailers. It looked like there's just stuff popping off everywhere, and it's not at all.
Yeah, and it's very generous. Is it? You're never going to be grinding for bullets or anything like that.
No,
it gives you everything you need.
Yeah, I think it restarts every time you start a mission anyway, so it keeps you up leveled up and stuff. But no, the combat is really satisfying. The amount of times I'm jumping around the place as Deadshot and just wiping the floor with people.
Yeah,
and just
I've never been about like throwing grenades and stuff in combat, but I love doing it in this. It's so satisfying.
Yeah,
even in Last of Us Part 2, I never like threw grenades. So I'd always blow myself up. But you don't need to worry about that here. And it's just I love just flying over people, just dropping a grenade and like doing the cool looking back,
landing behind them and turning around and shooting them as they.
It's just so good.
Yeah,
there's one grenade you can get that like it doesn't harm them, but it shoots them all up in the air and gathers them all together. So I just throw that, they all go up, and I just turn around. It's so good.
It is. So I mean, we've both been playing as Deadshot, who has a sort of jetpack with sort of limited jumping abilities. All of the traversal for all of the 4 characters is fairly limited anyway. I imagine that's just because a lot of the missions tend to be close combat, so you only really need them to go across the map, and that can be a bit of a pain, but that is what it is.
I think once you spend enough time with it, it definitely feels like, because I've fully leveled up Harley Quinn now as well. So I've gotten a lot more used to her traversal, and I find that just as easy as Deadshot now. So I think it's just about
just trying to use it.
Yeah.
Because there are some that are quite tricky. I think the one I struggle with the most is King Sharks, because it's a bit. He doesn't have like the.
Yeah, I'm saving it to last.
I'm
not ready for that.
He's a bit tough, but it's fairly easy to get to grips with. I was quite worried because a lot of people are like, oh, there's so many tutorials, but it's fine. It's like the first hour and it settles you in pretty quickly. I think my main critique is just the amount of menus there are. And there's a lot of weapons, and I seem to have picked up the best sniper rifle sort of like halfway through the game and have never got a better one. So I'm kind of like, I don't need any more.
And all I'm doing now is constantly just getting rid of guns because I've like maxed out my inventory. And I've literally got about 300 like messages on that when you can get mail, because I had no room to. We've sent it to HQ or whatever, and you have to like physically go through, and I'm like, I've already got all of these, just delete them. Which is
there are so many different like things. I'm like, look, I just need to what gives you the most damage. I don't care about anything else. Just give me the most damage and let me shoot. So if you like proper making your character whatever you want to play, that gives you the option to do that. At the same time, we're not the most sort of tactically advanced with this, so we just picked ones and went,
I like this one. It does the most damage. I'm going to take it to Toyman and Penguin, and Poison Ivy, and then I will never use any other gun ever.
Yeah, exactly.
If I switch to another character, I will give them that gun. That's all I do.
And it's important to read the fine print of some of the things as well, because I put a buff on my character, and then it was like, oh yeah, but if it's max shield, it will start taking away your shield. And
I was like, had exactly the same one. I was finding around, it was like, dude, I was like, what's going on? It took me so long to realize what it was. I swapped out everything but the thing that was actually doing it.
Yeah. So it's important, because although it gives you buffs, there are sometimes consequences for that, which again is a similar thing for.
Yeah, because like when you're going to like Penguin and Toyman stuff, they like re-roll the stats of the gun. So sometimes it can just make it worse. It will give it like different buffs. But I had one like it gave me like different like ice effects or something. But I think its efficiency was like down 30%. I was like, oh, okay. Delete that then.
But I think we can both agree that the highlight of the game is the Condiment King's condiment bottles in the museum. And he gets a little line reference as well.
Peacemaker like Easter eggs, like you can find some graffiti. And it's like America, motherfuckers. It's great.
There you go. I think so. Moving, the game, I think I looked at my playtime. I've been about 17, 18 hours total at the minute. Still got some stuff to do for the platinum, and I'm now at the end game, post game, waiting for them to add new stuff, which I think is next month. So for me personally, I think this is probably going to be the game where every time they drop new stuff, I will jump back in and play the new stuff, and then probably go back out again, because I think it's fairly simple to pick up once you remember the controls. But there is enough there for people that want to do completionists and want to get the platinum. There's sort of mastery levels where you can do different things again.
Those are hard. There's trophies for like complete this at level 10, 15, 20. And I struggle at level 5, mate. I'm gonna need to level up all my characters.
Yeah. So there's stuff that can make you grind, but you don't have to do that. You can change the difficulty to whenever to whatever you want. It doesn't have to be the.
I love it when games do
that.
It can
be easy stuff. So there's no trophies tied to that. The Riddler trophies are back. There's Riddler trophies, Riddler riddles, and Riddler sort of like traversal challenges. Yeah. Which is fine. I think I'm still trying to find all the trophies for that, because they're not necessarily the easiest ones to spot.
They only pop up on the map if you're like near one.
If you've seen them,
I liked the method in the Arkham games where you can interrogate Riddler informants and they show up. I do think it's a bit like it's like for the last 5 or 6, I had to just look up a guide on YouTube.
Yeah, so it can that can be a struggle, and if you've got one left and you don't know which ones you've managed to find, that I can imagine that'd be very very annoying. But there's stuff there if you want to keep grinding it. You can keep getting better things, getting resources, making sure you're ready for the next stuff to come. And the next stuff is the Elseworlds, what they're calling it. So I think effectively every month they'll be releasing a new sort of like a new mini map, because it's not like a whole new world, but a new map. And I think at least for the first 4, they've said there'll be a new playable character, and new story stuff, obviously. So the Joker, I think, is coming in next month, and he's a Joker from obviously a different dimension. And it'll be interesting to see if they're all going to be like ruined dimensions like the Earth 2 one is, or if they're actually going to be more, if there's going to be a visible difference, or if it's going to be the same stuff in the other one. I think the post-game stuff will tell how long this kind of lasts.
Yeah, how long it goes that's for. Because from the looks of it, like the first couple of new Brainiacs we're going to go up against, I think it is like, I love the game. The last boss against Brainiac, I was very underwhelmed by, because it was just a flash boss fight again. I was like, oh,
yes,
a shame.
Yeah.
And it looks like we're going to get like Green Lantern Brainiac in like the next one, and then
same
get,
stuff,
like, Batman Brainiac. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a shame. But beyond that, I kind of craving like an actual Brainiac boss fight. So I'm hoping we will get something like that.
You'd think that would be the very last one, but with the final Brainiac, when he's just you have to fight all 13 Brainiacs.
Yeah.
Which maybe, but I mean, that's the thing. If for the longevity of this game, what do you think sort of needs to be done? They've obviously announced a couple of new playable villains coming through, but do you think they'll introduce other heroes? Where's Aquaman?
Yeah, I think they could easily bring in like Aquaman or Cyborg or something into it. I mean, when they were walking around, because the characters will sometimes talk to each other in between missions, they talk about Aquaman, So he's doing something.
Yeah.
So I love to see them kind of add him. That does feel like something like, oh, that could have been fun to have like a water-based boss fight. So maybe they
especially with King Shark.
Yeah, they feasibly maybe just couldn't fit that into the world or something for whatever reason, or maybe they did plan to do it, but they had to just cut it out for time, or who knows. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if we don't get like new members of the squad added in. And yeah, if they keep the new characters coming, because Rocksteady are very good with these characters, clearly, I think that'd be great. I think Peacemaker would be a great addition to this particular lineup. I think he'd fit into this world very well. Just all the swearing and the violence and stuff. That's his whole deal. So that would be great. And you could get Rick Flag to say Peacemaker was a joke. That'd be great. Just a little in joke like that. So yeah, I would like lots of, well, not lots of new characters, maybe 1 or 2 new characters every month, or some kind of story-based thing. It might, for all we know, it might even end and the last mission is, go back in time and undo all this so the heroes are alive again.
Do it again.
For all we know. It might be Save the Justice League is the name of the final mission, or maybe that'll be the sequel, who can say. But yeah, I would like to see some just more new characters in this world that we haven't seen already. Maybe like Ratcatcher or something. They've always had like an Easter egg or a Riddler thing to do with Ratcatcher in the Arkham
The Condiment King.
You clearly love him. Yep. There's a Clock King Easter egg as well in this. So I would love them to bring in Clock King. Incredible. Be careful how I say that, because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Clock, the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're really good with those characters. So if they keep adding in ones that I'm like, oh, I'd be interested to play as them. Like, I love the Joker. Like, I think he's one of the best fictional characters ever created. So you put him in anything, I'm there. I'm interested. So who's popping up beyond that, I think will kind of gauge my interest going forward long term.
Yeah, because I mean, if they could always turn around halfway through and go, the next one you've got to pay for, people will be pissed. But at that point, they'll probably have made their money. But
exactly,
if it is to continue to be free, I think, it will be interesting to see who they bring in and if they can retain that player base.
Yeah,
I think
that's the thing. Like,
people are playing it. But...
yeah, and that's the thing with it. A couple of years ago, when they released that footage and everything, they could have just kept down that road that they were going on. People would have bought it; they would have made their money. But the fact that they chose not to and did fix it because people were saying that, they have my loyalty for that. To be honest, I think I'd like to keep playing the game for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to keep turning up. I think I'm more invested in this than I was in the Marvel Avengers game. I played the story of that, and then I put it down and sort of never came back when they added new stuff to it.
I need to finish that story off. Really, I got like 4 chapters in.
If you can, I don't know if they've turned it all off. I know everything was.
They might have done,
but I can't remember if they've turned the servers off anymore. Which, if they have, then
I won't do it. But...
that's the risk that you fall with this. They might have, because I think Avengers was worse than this one.
Right.
I think they had.
I think as far people thought this was going to be a disastrous launch, but it's crashed on me once.
I had one.
I've had no issues.
Yeah, I think
I actually think this is the most stable launch of a game I've experienced in probably like 2 years.
Well, yeah, I was thinking there was some frame rate issues, and I was just thinking, and only one crash and a couple of frame rate issues, but this was a better launch than the newest Star Wars game, Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, I had a lot of issues with Survivor. I had an issue with Spider-Man 2 as well, where my character just got stuck in a bin, and I couldn't do anything. I reload the save, he'd still be stuck in the bin.
There was one bit where I think something had bugged out and it sort of didn't give me the reward screen and it just sort of cut. But small things, nothing that I've been like, that's ruined the day.
Yeah, considering it is currently all online, I am amazed that it hasn't been worse.
Yes, there was. I mean, when I was playing it Sunday morning, I think there was some bits where it was like, can't connect to the server, but then it connected. So it was fine.
Yeah.
There's no real lag, which I thought there would be. I mean, there might be if you're playing online with other people. But only playing it by yourself, I don't.
I think I might try and rely on other people to get me through some of those harder trophies. I might try and join a squad. Carry me.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I'm just a little baby boy.
But I think overall this game has been. I've enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I think it's probably fair to say.
Yeah. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Yeah, because I think more so the combat. I knew I was probably always going to enjoy the story, but more I didn't feel like I was pushing myself to get through certain things to continue, whereas I have been in previous games.
Like I went around and ticked off all the side missions and stuff before I did the next main story, and I never do that. I'm always mainline the main story, but I enjoyed doing all the other things as well.
Yeah,
Which I guess is testament to how much I enjoyed it. For some reason, I don't know why, that one where you have to kill the enemies to drop the shield around the crystals, and you destroy the crystals to get.
Yeah.
For some reason, I love that one. I love doing it. I don't know why. I don't know what itch it's scratching.
It's so satisfying. So
I
you
don't
just
know what itch it scratches, but I just love it.
You just drop in, kill everyone, kill the crystal, shoot off, drop in, kill everyone.
The poison ivy ones can get in the bin, but I love all
yeah,
this.
no, I don't like them. I don't like them.
If I had one criticism of the story, you don't need poison ivy. Why is she a girl?
No.
It's weird.
No.
I found that was the only character I was like, oh, that's really cringy dialogue for her, and very I don't think it's as well written as the others. And I was like,
but, I mean,
even when Toyman showed up, I was like, oh no, here we go. But I ended up loving him, and Gizmo, I was like, oh, here we go. But I loved him. So
yeah. They have it. I mean, they could still get worse with the DLC. You know, they could take a nosedive because I don't think they're focused on as much as I've never gone to see Gizmo. I think I went down once when he got in the basement, but then since then I've just not gone down.
Yeah, you don't need to talk to him. He doesn't upgrade anything. He just does the
missions. So I've not really dealt with him much. The Toyman, fine. You know, I'm fine with him. The Poison Ivy missions, I think they're the ones I enjoy the least, and I don't always like, because most of them you have to use your abilities to make them, so that you can attack them and do damage, which is fine, but they don't recharge necessarily quick enough, and you're sort of there and wandering around going, come on.
That is one thing with the late game thing as well, in terms of the combat, that I hope they can kind of change. I find so many enemies in the open world or any other challenges are the ones where you have to do a physical attack to get their rocks or armor off or anything.
Yeah.
But at the level I'm at now, that just kills them. So I miss shooting things. I'm not really looting and shooting anymore. I'm just looting. So I'm hoping that's something maybe they can address in future as well.
Yeah, and I think just more variations of the monsters, I think would be welcome as well. I mean, you can't really say that the Arkham series is known for its variations of goons, because it literally was small man with gun, big man with gun, and that was about it. The same with the Spider-Man game.
Flash infused monsters and Batman infused monsters. The Batman ones really annoy me.
And that's fine. You don't have. They are just cannon fodder. They are there for you to shoot, like with the Spider-Man.
I love that they still talk and stuff. You can still hear them in the radio. I thought they'd just be mindless slaves, but they just have conversations. It's really funny.
They're still people that you're killing, so it's fine.
You're still murdering them all, but you're playing as villains, so it's fine.
Yeah, technically it's okay. But I think a lot of this is well done. A lot of the dialogue is well written. The story is great. The combat is very satisfying. At least it is that I've enjoyed with Deadshot. So if you're not enjoying the combat, maybe try different characters. Play around with it. Maybe you'll find one style that you enjoy. But at the same time, I can accept that it's not necessarily for everyone. It is a live service loot shooter game, and they're not always what people enjoy the most. Which is fair enough. I think if it wasn't for the IP, I probably wouldn't have picked this up by itself.
No, I probably wouldn't have either.
Which, that's why they made it a DC IP, because they know they can try and get a lot of that fan base.
Comic book things.
Yeah, and it works. I'm happy to be that kind of person that will just go along with the bandwagon because it's an IP that I like. It's fine.
Yeah.
And if I didn't like it, I would probably have played it through and put it down and gone, that was fine, and gone off. So yeah, we'll see what it goes. And I know discourse online continues to rumble. But I would suggest, if you're a fan of DC and the Arkham games, I'd suggest getting the game and giving it a go.
Yeah, it's definitely a labor of love to the Arkham games, even if you're like, oh, they've killed the Arkham Batman. But
that doesn't happen until literally the very end as well. So you get the whole.
So did we really think we were getting another game after Arkham Knight? It's been 9 years, for God's sake.
And I mean, you could. I mean, you can't anymore because unfortunately Kevin Conroy has passed. But you could because there's one where it's oh yeah, 7 years after he faked his death, he came back. So you could do one about him, either in that time or when he came back. So it's not like this is the last. The Origins came out between the first and second game, so you could do second
and third, I think. Yeah.
So you could do a story beforehand. You could easily follow it up with more, and I don't think Rocksteady.
Yeah, because Kevin Conroy didn't voice Batman in Arkham Origins. Mark Hamill voiced Joker, so it can happen again. The same Batman. It's Elseworld, so I'll just bring him back in a different dimension.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So everything that's happened to him up to Brainiac's point is exactly the same. except
Yeah,
he doesn't
they'll
get killed by
bring
Brainiac or whatever.
they'll bring Thomas Wayne in as Batman.
Yeah, they do Flashpoint Batman, I imagine.
Yeah, they'll do loads of stuff like that, I'm sure. And if they wanted to do another game, I don't know what Rocksteady's plans are for sort of future games, but if they wanted to do another one in this universe, they could easily set it after this, before this. You know, if the multiverse is where they want to go, they can do a different.
It might be very
universe,
purposeful
then,
that they gave this Suicide Squad game a subtitle, so they could just continue on.
Yeah,
a new
yeah,
game with a different squad of people if they wanted to.
Yeah, so
anything can happen.
They could do anything. I think it just depends on how well this game is received. Depends on what type of game will come next.
It's the third most played in the UK at the minute on PlayStation. Second most in the US after Fortnite. Funnily enough, looter shooters are dead apparently.
Yeah. This is it. I think it's had a fairly successful unbuggy launch. And I think it's satisfying enough that people will enjoy it if they give it the chance. And I'm hoping that we look back in a year, next February, and we go, hey, that was pretty fun, and we're coming to the end of it. And then that's it. Games don't have to go on forever. You can just be like, that's the end, we're stopping there. But you can still go back and play it. They still add costumes into Arkham Knight, even though people probably stopped playing that 2 months after it came out.
I think they just timed that well with like the Switch release of the game. It's like, I might replay that if it's coming out on Switch.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll go revisit that, and then they put Rob Pattinson in.
Yeah,
I'm happy. Like when they put Ben Affleck's skin into that sounds weird. The Ben Affleck skin into Arkham Knight. I re-downloaded the game and played it again.
Yeah. So it can keep going, and I think I had a lot of fun with it. I will be continuing to play it, and I will play the new content. And I'm hopeful that we'll get more in this universe. Hopefully in the future. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about the game? Anything else?
Just that Kevin Conroy tribute at the end was very sad, and I weep.
It was, unnecessary.
Just so well written. I thought that, like, his voice.
It sort of happened, and I was like, "Why did Batman die like 2 hours ago? What's going on?" I was like, "Oh no, this isn't."
Yeah, and then just thank you, Kevin.
Oh
God. So I like that, and that they have a little plaque for him.
Yes.
In the Hall of Justice, and one for Arlene Sorkin, who obviously was the OG voice of Harley Quinn, voiced to an Arkham Asylum as well, who passed away last year. So that was very sweet. But emotionally sabotaged me, so that's rude. I don't appreciate it. I also do appreciate it.
Yeah, it was very, very, very moving, I think, towards the end. Because you're like, yeah, I've done it. Oh, God. There's no need for that.
It was nice that I think Batman had a surprisingly kind of meaty role, all things considered.
Yes.
He was like the main Justice League member I think you would encounter. And like he was the one who did all the talking over the radios and stuff until he died and then Brainiac.
You heard him the most, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really nice because obviously Rocksteady had a very good relationship with Kevin Conroy because he did all the Arkham games and stuff. And it was quite bittersweet, but nice that he did something a bit different with Batman, I guess, in this film. Because he played an evil Batman in the Arrowverse Crisis on Earth crossover. So he had a ball doing that. So
it was this Batman.
It's exactly the same Batman. So it was nice to see him play an evil Batman again. It's nice also to know that there is more to come from his performances because he has done a couple of movies of Batman, which is nice.
But that is it. That's where we'll leave it. We may end up coming back in a couple of months to talk about whatever else.
A terrible first.
Well, this is the thing, it might be great, and then they might release the DLC and go, oh no, goodbye.
Depends who's voicing Joker. If they get Troy Baker again, I can hold Jim's, it'll be fine because he was really good.
We'll see what happens. And if it does end up being not great, we'll by all means come back and talk about it not being great.
And we still had a great main game, if nothing else.
Yes, exactly. That's the main thing.
Yes.
But that's it. That's where we'll leave it. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.